Hey, hey, good morning. Welcome. Doing a little bit of live this morning, seeing what's going on. Brooke's always the first one on here. How are you? Thank you so much. Welcome, 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 everyone. Don't forget, we have training on Friday, that's tomorrow, on reinventing yourself, restarting, reengineering. We're going to make it happen for you to take advantage of what's going well, what's stabilized, and what opportunities exist for the future. Colleen, good morning. Thank you, Alex. I appreciate it. Looking good here. Always great to see everybody in here. Let's get some questions going. Justin, Pugh, Enrique, welcome. Let's have you guys join while they're getting some questions going for me. Uh, Love to have you join me. My friends from Dose, Elevate, where are you? There it is. Let me get this going. Hey, Zeus, welcome as well. All right, there, we got that pinned up there. You can text me at 949-298-2905 or email me at david@dmeltzer.com. Thank you so much. Looking forward to it. Samir, thank you for joining me. Do you have classes? I have free training every Friday as well. Just go ahead and email me, david@dmeltzer.com. Would love to get you there free. 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you. Enrique, are you in here, my friend? Please request to go live with me. Love to see you and see what's going on. We got a couple questions coming in. Perfect. How do you reinvent yourself in this current climate? So we're going to go over that tomorrow in training. Enrique's here. Good. What kind of training is this? It's on reinventing yourself, reengineering. My main mission in life is to empower others to be happy, and utilizing pragmatic and inspirational type of trainings and a blend thereof in order to effectuate making a lot of money, helping a lot of people, and having a lot of fun. Three key components, and if you're aligned with that and your values are aligned with that, join me on Fridays for free. The information is below, 949-298-2905. Do not see Enrique on here, so trying to get them joined. Up there he is. Perfect. Welcome everybody. Thank you for joining me. It is Thursday.
Hello, hello.
Nancy too. How are you?
Got a double whammy.
I love it. I love it. Thank you for joining me. I wanted you guys to join me because there's so many people right now that are looking for income, right? They're looking for a way to get started, but they don't have any capital, but they got a lot of grit. And so I've been using Elevate as a product because it's the happiness product, and I'm on a mission to empower others to be happy. You two guys are absolutely killing it. And the Elevate, the company that you work with, it started kind of as a side hustle for you. Isn't that right?
Yeah, it was kind of by accident, just fell in our lap. We loved the product, what the mission was to help people with their health, wealth, and happiness. And it kind of aligned with who we are as people and what we were looking to do. And once we explored the business side, we're like, hey, we can get 100% behind this and start running with this. And 18 months later, our lives have completely changed. Like you said, you don't need a lot of upfront capital. You just got to have the hustle, the work ethic, and the want to go out there and share this and help a lot of people. And if you got that, then you can accomplish whatever you want.
It's so interesting because like when you're onto something that's the right thing, things just fall into your lap, right? They keep
Right.
on, like you guys fell into my lap. I mean, we were
I know.
literally, you called me for a little bit of advice and you started talking about your business without saying the name of it. And right on my desk was your product, one that I've used for a long time. And they had just come out with some new product that was there. And it's talking about dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins, which I've learned from Mike Diamond. But I was more just, and I called it my happiness blend to my wife. She's like, this is my happiness in the morning. And I don't know why, but it makes me feel really good. It's, I won't say it makes you lose weight, but I think when you feel so happy that you just eat better and you work out and all the things that you're supposed to do. And, it's not like this, pill that you take that makes you lose weight. It's really something that just, I can't even explain it, and it works. What I wanted, Mike Diamond's on here, by the way. He's supporting us. My
What's
dose
up,
of
Mike?
Mike. But I really wanted to get you on because whether it's Elevate, which is your guys' company, or WFG, there's some really good products out there in different spaces. And I really want to talk about the reality of MLM, because the most impressive thing, besides the product that you guys sell and partner with and channel partner with, the most impressive thing is the numbers. Most MLMs are the exact thing that I teach, which is number one, 99% of the people are going to quit at 25% of the way there. Then of that 1%, 99% of those people are going to quit at 50% of the way there. Then that 1% of the 1% in MLMs that they believe in become millionaires. And I don't have to talk numbers, but I will attest to the fact that these two make a lot of money, multi-millions, and 18 months into it. But it wasn't easy, right? It wasn't easy. You had to stay attentive to what you're doing and put intention into it. But you guys, your numbers carry a lot farther than the 1% of the 1%. Why do you think you guys have such a higher rate of adoption of people sticking with it?
Well, we found a lot of people are looking for simplicity. They're looking to have fun. They're tired. They're maxed out. They've got too much on their plate already. And if we could find something that they could do and plug into a system that they could simply, it's work, but it's simple. Then we could help a lot of people create the success they're looking for, because not everyone's looking to make millions. Some people, most people need that extra $500, to make that car payment, or to, to cover, the dishwasher that just broke, or anything else, right? So we really wanted to be able to help those people do that on the side without taking time away from their family. So that they could do it in a simple way, plug them into a simple system. And we'd always been looking for that. We've done other opportunities. We've always been hustlers, persistent. We've been consistent. And yeah, not everyone doesn't necessarily have the time or energy or the focus to put in the way we do, right? But we got to help a lot of people create that extra income that they want.
But the dream can start with making an extra $500 to $1,000 a month. And once they see the possibility and it allows them to dream bigger, then they start saying, okay, if I put a little bit more effort, I can make this much more. And then it starts to open their mind of the possibilities that are available. I shared this yesterday on social media. When we launched this business in December of 2018, I had $5 in my savings account and I had $86.27 in my checking account. So about $90 to my name when we launched this business. We signed up, we bought some product on a credit card, and we put our heads down and we went to work. And 18 months later, our lot, you can't even compare where our lives were to where we are right now. And we've been able to help a lot of people along the way. We can't get there alone, not in MLM. You can't do it by yourself. You gotta be able to help people. You gotta be able to pour into people and help them get to the goal that they want to get to. If you can do that, if you can help people get to their goal, you're going to hit your goal by default. So 18 months, what a ride. It's been amazing. We're excited of what's to come here in the next few years, because now it's allowed us to even dream bigger of what's available out there for us. And now we're having those David Meltzer type dreams now.
Well, we feel like we haven't even started yet. That's how we feel. Like it's day one.
Right.
What's so interesting is I'm watching the comments while you guys are talking, and Josu said, "Oh, is this an MLM? Is this outdated?"
Right.
Yes. MLMs have been around for a long time. So is real estate. In fact, our laws in America were created to protect the landowner, and buying and selling real estate has been around a long time. And whether you want to find the light, the love, and the lessons, I'm telling you right now, if you want this to be as big as them, it's the 1% of the 1%, in my opinion. Right? But I think Nancy brings up a really good point, because I'm someone that just fell upon the product. One of my cousins recommended it to me. He said, "Hey, you're the happy guy. Your mission is happiness. You got to try this." I'm like, dude, I'm not going to try this thing. It's an MLM. I'm not doing this. And then I took it the first day. I'm like, whoa, wow, that's a really good product. And then, I asked to order some, and it just kept growing and attracting more and more. So if you're not into MLMs, don't do it. right? Because if
Right.
you already are listening and voting for what other people want for you, and you're finding reasons and resistance and avoidance to what you want, that's for you, right? It's MLMs are for the 1% of the 1%. That's a very small percentage. Or it's for the person that needs an extra $500 or $1,000, or maybe it's just someone that wants to try something, a product that I think equates to helping you be happy, which is my mission in life. These are the three kind of areas why I wanted you two guys on, and I love this story because it's like, you can see MLMs especially are so separating, right? It's literally divisive. It's like some people immediately will be like, F that, man, that sucks. And honestly, like, I had my own initial resistance, but the thing was, I was just trying it, and it worked. And then it just kept evolving. And this must be, for me, a lot longer period of time. Half of me is like, I spend a lot of time doing stuff for a lot less money. Maybe 12 months ago when I tried the product with the platform I had, I should have been pushing it. But I'd rather push them to you, because you guys really know what you're doing. It's your core competency. You guys help people, you train them. And I just thought, with what's going on with today, the two types of uncertainties that are happening, and people are looking at least for a little bit of extra income to help them get by. And I also got a lot of young entrepreneurs, right? That this is a product that's not, some old person wellness, something, or Amway, buy your toothpaste. Like, this is a pretty innovative deal. And, I think that if there's some young entrepreneur out there that's willing to invest in themselves, doesn't have a lot of cash, maybe has a tiny bit of room on their credit card with nothing in their bank, I promise you, if you stay focused, I promise you right here, if you stay focused here and you start, let's say, June 15th, by the time you go back to school, you'll be making more money than all your friends.
Right.
Like, simply by asking in person, on the phone, via email and social media, just simply asking people to try it, and allow the product to speak for itself. Last thing real quick, then I'll let you guys go. What still is the biggest challenge today? Obviously, you guys are very successful, but you didn't quit, right? And how do you get people to try it where they're resistant, going, oh, it's MLM? Because that's probably the number one objection that you get when you're getting people to try to get involved with you. They're like, oh, it's an MLM. How do you kind of discuss that or let them try it? What's your strategy?
It starts with a product. It starts with a sample. That's it. And like you said, let the product speak. And
sharing stories. And then also, like, about the product, but then people that are looking for an opportunity. Hey, numbers don't lie. In my work career, whether it was being a small business owner or working for corporate America, I've never been able to generate this kind of income in my life. And we did it in 18 months. Yeah, I was in corporate America for 15, 16 years. And I couldn't get past the 70, 80K a year mark. Now we're right there of making that per month. So, like, when you can turn your yearly salary into your monthly salary, you're like, okay,
something's
working. How are they doing it? We're using the power of social media. We're leveraging social media. We have an international business all over the world. How are we doing that? We don't get on a plane and travel around the world to do business. We have social media. We have Zooms. We have the technology nowadays to be able to streamline your business and make it go fast. Where before social media, it wasn't like that. Technology has completely changed the game, completely changed the MLM landscape, where you can come in, put your head down, follow a system, go to work, no BS, put the time in, put the effort in, and you can create a life-changing income in a short. Listen, what's 2 years? Even if it takes you 5 years to become a millionaire in MLM, what industry could you go into with no experience, walk in and say, all right, I'm going to become a millionaire in a few years or 18 months or 2 years or whatever it is? It's not out there. It just isn't, right? So with no capital, like you said, to be able to come in and do this, it's a perfect setup for anyone looking to, really put in work and go to the top and use what we have in place here. Anything to add?
Let's go.
I think you guys hit 3 points, because I'm a pragmatist, and I don't, I don't sell anything, but I like to present opportunities. One, it's a good product. I'm just telling people I use it. It's a good product. It works. So if that's all you get out of this, good for you. Try it. Two, if you need a little bit of extra income and you're not a 1% of a 1%er and you're not like Enrique, like ready to give your life away, it's a really easy, no, honestly, it's a really easy way to make an extra $500, $1,000 a month. Then two, it is an MLM. If you want to be one of those people that are willing that, and you're going to choose something to do that you have no money to start with, this is statistically a really good place to put your time, your energy, your resources, because it's a good product, it's a good system, and you can do it. But it is the 1% of the 1%. They have higher ratios, but I'm telling you, MLMs on general, as long as you're not a quitter, you stick with it, segment it out 20 years. I know a lot of people, they'll be in the same place 20 years from now. And if they were making $1 million a year 20 years from now, when they're, 38 or 42 or 45 or 50, they'd be okay with it. So I'm gonna let you guys go. I got Zach Bitter on next. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Where can people find you guys?
Right here on Instagram, Enrique Olazabal, my name, Nancy Ohanian, her account. I'll put in the link in the comments here as soon as we get off, and then people can reach out to us there.
Awesome. Thank you guys for educating us. Thank you so much.
Have a great day, guys.
Elevate yourself. Right on. What a great, that's Zach Bitter is in here. There we go, my friend. We'll go live with Zach Bitter. Oh, the man.
Hey, how's it going?
Great. How are you?
Good.
Is that a treadmill behind you?
It is. I'll be honest, I haven't stepped on it since I did the 100 miles on it, but it's still there.
It looks elevated, like there's a stool or something behind. I mean, is that above you or is it just tall?
I think it might just be a little bit of the angle of the phone I have right now, but it is pretty big. They have the screen on it that kind of is big enough so you can like follow along on different course routes and things like that. So that part of it, the front of it is a little bigger than maybe some of the older models.
Well, for those of you that don't know Zach, he's an incredible ultramarathon runner. I want him to come on to talk about discipline, because I think the two areas that most specifically impress me with ultramarathoners are, the discipline of mindset, because there's a variety of things that you need to do in order just to finish 100 miles, let alone what you could do in a 12-hour race or other things. And then the second thing I'd like to touch on is pain, and your philosophy of pain, because I couldn't imagine. I do 3 miles a day. That's my ultra marathon. You know, Jesse Itzler and Colin and Brady did the 1 mile a day. They kept doing it. Did you see that?
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Do you see what I did with them? I did 1 yard a day. 1 yard.
Hey, you can make 3 miles hurt an awful lot if you want to. So
yeah,
no shame there.
Well, I have a saying, especially with running, if you want to really be a runner, you got to know the first 10 minutes suck. And so, no matter how, if you're a 3 miler, a 6 miler, a 10 miler, marathon or ultra marathoner, everybody knows the first 10 minutes are the hardest 10 minutes. Now, I can't say that because I've never run 100, but it's still pretty hard the first 10 minutes, no matter how far you're going to go, because of the way the body, mind, and soul works. So discipline wise, how do you get past that first 10 minutes of like, dude, I don't want to run today?
Yeah, I think, discipline is kind of it. Like you just kind of, you get to know that, like what to expect. And that if you're in a big training block or something like that first mile, that first 10 minutes or whatever it is going to take a little bit to kind of warm up and get into it. And then you kind of hit a groove and you start to more or less normalize things that I think you would have like otherwise maybe thought was impossible or not doable at one point in your life. And myself included, I remember at one point in my life, thinking I would never run 90 miles a week, and then now I can do it in a day. So you kind of stay consistent. I think consistency and patience is probably two of the kind of core principles I think when it comes to endurance, especially like ultramarathon endurance. Is there's a lot of different like ways to train for a race as long as 100 miles, and ultimately there's a lot of mindset and psychological kind of components to that. So like the thing that kind of carries true through whatever plan you take or whatever route you take to get to it is kind of being consistent and being patient and letting the process kind of take place. Start where you're at. Don't try to be someone you're not right away. There's tons of examples of people who've been doing it for, 10 plus years. Don't try to be them on day one. Just, kind of meet yourself where you're at, be patient, be consistent, and that usually works out.
One of the other things that I like is on that discipline is the planning, that when you have that many miles, that it's not just go out and run. I mean, the detail that is involved in the strategy and planning in order to accomplish what you accomplish is really interesting. Can you kind of talk us through how that works for you? Because most people think that you just, run 100 miles, and it's so much more detailed. But I think it would help entrepreneurs because it's really 100. When you're starting a business, it's like 100-mile race, right? And people, they go at it like it's the Dave Meltzer 30-day yard challenge. And meanwhile, this is a 20-year segmented challenge that takes a long time to figure that out. What do you put into the strategy and discipline of figuring that out?
Yeah, I do a few things. I think it's good to have that long-term goal, like that race on the calendar, or I want to be here on this year, and have those kind of big kind of meta goals in place so that you have some of that motivation from that. But then you also have to be asking yourself, what's going to get you through today? What's going to get you through tomorrow? And what are these smaller steps going to look like that are going to ultimately add up to get you to that goal in mind? And I think if you don't kind of put mini goals along the way or little benchmarks along the way, that kind of makes it difficult to be able to stay as excited about that end goal after day after day after day. So I like to always kind of structure my training where I'm like focusing on a specific thing or a specific discipline. I can watch my body kind of adapt and evolve within that before moving on to the next step, so that I can kind of check little boxes along the way versus trying to wrap my head around the whole thing. And that kind of actually feeds in positively to the race environment itself, which ends up being kind of a microcosm of the whole process. So, I go out and run a 12-hour race. It can be daunting at the beginning of that to think I'm going to be running for 12 straight hours. But when you start to think of that in terms of how many hours, how many days, how much energy you spent getting ready for it, you can kind of dwarf that in your mind, and then even break the race up into little segments as well. So I like to structure my training in kind of what I call like a periodized model, where I'm doing things that are maybe a little least specific to the intensity of race day early on. And then once I'm kind of adapting within that framework, I'll move on to kind of a different system of training that's just like inching closer to race specificity. So then at the end, that's when I'm kind of doing the really big long runs, back-to-back days on Saturday and Sunday. That might be like 30-mile Saturday, 30-mile Sunday. And those are the ones that kind of get you really prepared physically and mentally for the mechanics and the intensity that you're going to use on the day of.
And you talk about the mechanics and intensity. Those are directly related to minimize or mitigating pain. And for me, it's really interesting because I believe pain's an indicator, right? It's an indicator that you have a lesson to learn. Pain, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and even financial pain is just the idea that, hey, I'm expanding, and in order to expand, I have to learn something. Mm-hmm. But, I'm putting into the context of running that far, and you have some of this more instant lesson that you must learn, because there has to be a lot of pain involved to put your body through that. It's one thing to stay focused, but the body's only meant for so much. How do you deal with pain? What's your own perspective of pain? And are there ways that you kind of mitigate it? What are some of the things that you deal with pain during that race and during training?
Yeah, you said it. It's like it's a reality. Like, it's gonna hurt at some point, and that kind of ends up being something that you have to kind of manage mentally, because if you go in, sometimes it's kind of ignorance is bliss. You do your first one and you don't necessarily know how bad it's going to be. So you can sometimes you think at the end of it, you're like, man, I'm glad I didn't know how bad that was going to suck at mile 65 when I started. But then you start doing them, and it's like you can learn from your mistakes from previous ones and then make improvements on that. But then you start to know, like, yeah, it's going to be tough at this point. I know it is. I've got experience knowing that. And then it's just kind of about, I think, trying to look at it as it is, because it can always feel daunting in the moment. But if you can try to spin things into like a positive psychological mindset, then you can kind of get through that. And ultimately, with races as long as I'm doing, the pain is there, but the intensity is low enough that I do think that mental drive is the big determining factor of having a great day versus maybe a good day, or a good day versus a bad day, and that sort of thing. So when I get to, like, say, hour 7 of a 12-hour race, and 5 hours seems like a lot, which it is, and 7 hours in my legs feels like a lot, and it is, I try to remember like, well, remember the 20-hour training weeks, remember the 4 months of buildup you did, and then you can just really kind of tighten down how far you've come. And when you look at it as I'm 99% of the way here versus I'm 7 hours into a 12-hour race, it gets a little easier to spin things in a positive direction. You can kind of push through that physical pain a little easier.
You remind me, someone asked, what's the worst thing you can hear from a doctor? And I think it was my brother's like, oh, I would hate to hear, I got 6 weeks to live.
Mm.
And I was like, no, I go, it'd be much worse to say like, no, you got 6 years to live, because
Yeah.
that's like a 100-mile race. Because like, you don't have like enough, you can't just go for it for 6 years, right?
Right, yeah.
Like if I got 6 weeks to live, man, I got 6 weeks in me of money, fun, energy,
Yeah,
etc. Like,
liquidate everything, go crazy.
but like, how do you manage? It's like, okay, I got three years in, and that's the way when you were describing, 7 hours in, it's like being told you got 6 years to live.
Yeah.
So, one of the other things is somebody, take it back a step is, I believe in segmentation, right? You don't just overnight have the capability of running 100 miles. Can you explain to people how acceleration and exponential growth has worked within your physical training? Meaning, here you started with this many miles and you kind of built it up over this much time, so people could see there's no overnight success, whether it's running an ultramarathon or building a business or anything else that you want. It's the consistent, persistent behavior that segments, and you kind of keep doubling. So if you could talk me through the numbers of how you get to run 100 miles and how long that took you to build up to and train for.
Yeah, I think there's a variety of different approaches, I think, from a volume standpoint. So sometimes it comes down to kind of knowing yourself as a runner. If you're someone who's going to respond well to like a high volume training plan versus someone who's going to respond more to like a little bit of on the lower moderate volume. When you're running 100 miles, there's going to be a certain amount of volume that you probably need to get to just to make it kind of doable on the day up to meet your potential. But for me, I think I was really actually fortunate that I was a little naive when I came into the sport of running. I was young. I did my first endurance run in middle school, and then I started kind of taking it a little more seriously in high school, and ultimately a lot more seriously in college. But what that gave me is kind of a long stretch of time between the first race I did in middle school to the first race I did in college to kind of go really gradual and not necessarily try to overdo what I was capable of the time, or have these visions of grandeur when I was too young to really appreciate it. So for me in high school, like I don't think I ran more than 30 miles a week at any time. In the first year I did a year-round training cycle was leading into my senior year of high school. So when I got to college, it was a bit of an eye-opening experience when some of my teammates would say, oh yeah, we run 67 miles a week in high school. And I was like, wow, that's like twice as much as I did. I got a lot of work to do. And fortunately, my coach was wise enough to know that you don't necessarily go from 30 to 70 overnight, just like you don't go from, the couch to 100 miles and have your best race. So he had a structure set up where, the incoming freshmen were targeting like 50 miles a week. The sophomores were doing about 60. The juniors and seniors would be hitting 70, 80 with the occasional high volume athlete getting up to 90 or 100 during kind of some of the summer training blocks. So I kind of spent like 3-4 years just kind of like taking those little sections, like building up that volume. So then by the time I was done with college and kind of left to kind of decide what I wanted to do with running myself, had kind of like over years worked my way up to being able to average around 100 miles a week in training. And that just feeds well into a races that they're doing as long as that I have been. Then over the last 10 years in my ultramarathon career, it's just been kind of like fine tuning that, like where do I put these specific workouts? Like what goes into that training week? When do I do more than 100 miles a week? And when do I need to step back and do less to recover, and kind of finding all that balance and kind of the nuances between training to stress your body and resting to recover it.
It's so funny because you're describing that, and all I'm thinking about is that you utilize the same thing in branding yourself now with all the different companies involved with you and the performance companies, et cetera, that you start out exactly like when you were in high school, right? It's just like a little bit of branding, and meanwhile, people of our experience, and as you get a little bit older, it's like, wow, I got to pay attention to this much, to this branding of myself as much as I do the actual running, because we have to afford to be able to do the running and the training, et cetera. But it is nice, coming from the traditional sports sponsorship, endorsement, advertising background that I do, that athletes like you have the opportunity now to get the exposure, the awareness, the spectrum of people that are so interested in ultra marathon. I love the fact that it reaches worldwide. People are asking, you know, you do the Moab 240, and there's people from around the world that really get what you do. And there's brands that can support you now that before it's like, okay, what am I going to do? Put my logo on your back for nobody to see for 100 miles? Now, right now you can go ahead and brand yourself, which is a great aspect of what you do. What are some of the companies that you are working with today?
Yeah, no, I mean, you said it perfectly. I think, like, you know, it's not like the traditional sports where you join a team and the team kind of pays you. You have to kind of, it's a gear intensive sport too, especially when you get into the mountain races. So you partner up with brands that are also invested in the sport. And for me, I've been fortunate to make good connections with a lot of those. And kind of some of the big ones I'm working with are Ultra Footwear, S Fuels Nutrition, Purpose Apparel, Buff Headwear. Koros is like the watches I'll use, and yeah, it's, you get really fortunate to kind of have those companies support you and take interest in what you're doing. And then, like you said, there's that other component, the marketing side of it too, where I've been lucky where I've been a fan of the products and then gotten sponsored by them versus kind of having it go the other way around, which is always good, because then, you know, you're actually using the products that work for you. And then if people have like-minded interests in you and want to kind of try those things out, then you can be a marketing representative for them as well. And it's a pretty good mutual relationship as far as I can tell.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think ultra marathoners are like entrepreneurs. I never thought we'd have companies seeking after us to sponsor it. Hey, I got my own happiness company seeking us as well. Well, man, I certainly appreciate what you do. I certainly appreciate you coming on here. Thank you so much for teaching us about discipline, strategy, and pain, which are some of the key components to be successful and happy in life. So we wish you all the best. Please come back on and take care of those knees, because I'm sure God has not made your knees to run that many miles. So take care of those things.
Thanks so much for having me on, David.
Take care. Have fun.
Bye-bye.
Right on. The great ultramarathoner, Zach Bitter, giving us some insight on the branding, the marketing, and the discipline and strategy and the pain. All right. What's going on, everyone? Shawan, you still alive, man? What's going on? The great Shawan and the Swan song, the Black Swan. Hello, my friend. How are you? Good to see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right. Let's see here. I think I got a good friend of mine. She's on. Naman, I can't join you right now, but please go ahead. We can get your questions going. Thank you. Thank you. There's Darla. Will not let me join. Darla, can you request me? I'd love to have you join. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And if you guys can go ahead and have that, I'll answer a question while Darla requests me. Any emerging markets that interest you right now? So the markets that interest me right now are the ones that I'm researching that are doing well right now. Al Manfrey, hello. Bonnie, hi. So what do? The markets that interest me now are the ones that are supplementary and synergistically aligned with my capabilities. So my capabilities right now, being able to do mastermind, speaking, coaching, all of those different capabilities that I have and how they're applicable to what's doing well today. And also for companies that need a restart or reinvent or repurpose, companies that are looking to scale. There's a variety of things through the situational knowledge, experience, and dummy text that I've paid that I can help people with. And of course, my main mission in life is to empower others to be happy. So that's a great question. Thank you. Do you believe in investing through Goldman Sachs? Look, you pick who you want to invest with. There's tons of people. I'm looking for Darla to make that request. Alex, if you can help her, that'd be great. I cannot let her join, so it will not allow me have her log in and back out. I'll answer another question as we wait for Darla. Hi, mate. Can you tell me what do you think about MLM companies? I had them on because I think, there's three things I think. One, if you find any company that has a good product, use it. Two, if you want a little extra side income, MLMs are great for that, right? Just the occasional ask. So that's great. And if you're one of the 1%, meaning that if you're one of the 1% of the people that aren't going to quit at 25%, and then of that 1%, the 1% of those people that aren't going to quit at 50%, you can do really well. There she is.
I'm visiting. I'm visiting my friend in Mission Viejo this week, and so I'm super excited to be in California. So hello, everybody.
Hi, I know, I can't believe you're right down the block, and hopefully you'll come in today and I can see you in person.
Yes, that'd be great. I'd love a big hug. I haven't, quarantined, I haven't seen people for so long. Yes, I can see people now. So super excited.
That is awesome. Well, I am so proud of you. I know you're one of my first guests on Elevator Pitch, and one of my favorites of all times. Your energy, your innovation, and also the compassion that you have. What you do is for the betterment of all, especially the kids, and with the activity books and coloring books and the integration in sports. You and I are kind of soulmates in the respect that we are in the same mission to help people and empower them to be happy. Tell me, darling, I haven't talked to you in a little while. What's going on?
Oh my gosh. Hi, everybody. I'm super happy to be here. And like Dave said, I had such a great experience on Entrepreneur Elevator Pitch. It was super fun. So what I've been doing is writing a book called Matters of a Positive Mindset. So I have that. And then I have Witty and Friends. I started out in sports, as you know, Dave. And in 2011, a little boy got hit by a car. I started my sports licensing business. I did over 200 teams. And I had licensing and did all the activity books for the teams. And I'm still doing some work for the teams as giveaways and things like that. But I have developed my own characters and my own brand because my heart was leading me to help more kids in the hospitals. So I created my own characters called Witty and Friends. And so I created these activity books for money and to teach kids shapes. And this is my sled hockey one. And
I love it.
Kids that were in Indiana and Cincinnati, and these kids actually do sled hockey. And I actually got out on the ice with them. I've never done hockey in my life. And I got sled, and you know how you have to sit in the sled and then you have the sticks and you have to push yourself? Those kids were schooling me.
Nice.
So it was super fun. But anyway, that's my sled hockey book. I fell in love with those kids when I was doing it. So I did one with the kids. I've done anti-bullying. I've done childhood cancer, blindness, deafness, basically any kind of cause that's related to kids. Like that's what fuels my fire, and that's what I'm passionate about. So,
and the new book's about mindset. And last night I spent The World's Greatest Motivators with Brian Tracy, and it was all about mindset and his laws of mindset. What are some of the key components? I love that, for me, my biggest challenge is that I study so much and do so much research and speak at a higher level sometimes that I forget that I need to speak to everyone and be able to transcode what I'm saying into a level of your activity book or coloring book. I see Nick Lowry is in here, my famous kicker friend, who's amazing, extremely intelligent person as well. And we could have a high level conversation, but at a level that a child would understand mindset, what are some of the rules, the laws, the lessons, and how do you teach those? Give me 3 really good lessons from the book and how you explain mindset or the advice that you give.
yes. So one thing with a mindset, and obviously being an entrepreneur, I've learned so many life lessons, and I've beat myself up so many times because I've had so many peaks and so many valleys and ups and downs and all arounds. But for kids and for teenagers or whatever, even adults, I think there's 3 things that have fueled my fire. One, that is believing in yourself. So I think a lot of us have a lot of fear, and we have a hard time really believing in ourselves. And one of my mentors once said, and you are one of my mentors, by the way, like I just love your passion and your positivity. So you are definitely one of my mentors. But another one of my mentors once told me, Darla, you have passion, you have fire, you have all the components it takes, but you have a little bit of self-doubt, and you need to believe that you can do greater things than what you think you can. So I started believing that, and I started really looking at the end game. What do I want my end game to be? What do I want to accomplish? Do I want to make a lot of money? Do I want to have a lot of friends? Do I want to have a lot of followers? No, not really. I want to help a lot of people, and I want to help a lot of kids in hospitals. So I just realized that in order to get to the end game, you have to believe in yourself wholeheartedly, but not only just believing what you think you can do, believing what others believe you can do. So that's one thing. Totally believe in yourself in a greater way than just the normal things that you think you might be able to do.
I
And
love that.
the thing is to work hard. I get up every day. I'm up grinding every day. So I work super hard. I'm not afraid. I come from money. So I cashed in $20,000 in my own 401k to start my business. So I started from the get-go working hard. So I think hard work, you have to focus and you have to, yeah, I saw someone say focus, absolutely. But super hard. And then the third thing is just to be persistent. So I got so many no's when I started calling. I had one license for Alabama, and then I added Auburn, and then I had 200 licenses. But the main thing I did was I was persistent and I didn't give up. And I kept making the phone calls. So Cracker Barrel, there's retailers that told me no 5 years in a row, but I kept them on my call list and I kept calling them until they told me yes, because I was thinking in my mind, I've got a great product. Maybe they're just telling me no because all these reasons, but they're probably going to eventually say yes. So I talked myself into that they're eventually going to say yes. So you just have to stay at it.
And I think, you make some really good points. One, vote for yourself. You'll elect what you want in your life. I say also think bigger than you can think. I think I see a lot of people not thinking that they're worthy enough, and they're not dreaming big enough. They're not putting trust or faith in not only themselves, but the universe of what is available in a universe of more than enough. But also, it's interesting with the Crackle Barrel example, because I've seen that even with my own brand, is that you got to keep on asking, because what that no represents sometimes is that you probably didn't have enough value the first time that you went to Cracker Barrel, right? You didn't have the credibility. The emotional attachment was there, but you couldn't quantify the reasons, impacts, and capability. But by the 5th or 6th years with 200 licenses and all the different value that you had, you actually were more attractive to them and could provide more value. So there is a balance there for people. You have to establish those relationships, because sometimes there's a 5 or 6 years learning curve, but there's also a 5 or 6 year maturation curve in what you're doing, and that you're just better. And if you look at all like great actors and comedians, and you see like they put the work in. And, I've represented athletes and announcers and comedians and entertainers, and objectively, I'm thinking of one, Akbar Bijamel. I can never pronounce his last name, but he played for the Chargers, and he wanted to be a sideline announcer, and his agent's a good friend of mine. And, but Akbar will tell you, man, I wasn't very good. So for 2 years, I worked for free to learn how to do it and get better and better. And now, he's the announcer for the Ninja Warrior show, and he's amazing, right? So he was asking and getting no's, but it was also the universe telling him with the no's, hey, you got some lessons to learn. And I see that as I've watched your entrepreneurship and career evolve, where here you now found and are owning and owning it yourself, right? Mm-hmm. You don't need those licenses to share what you want to share, and your energy and genuine, authentic views and values that need to be portrayed to these kids, especially the ones in hospitals. And you're all heart and mind, and you're willing to sacrifice and give your whole life away for it. So that's amazing. I'm so proud of you. And any last things that you want to talk about or promote before we let you go?
No, I would just say adapting is also super important. You've got to adapt to the marketplace. So my prices, of course, because I wasn't printing a lot, were probably pretty, too high for the marketplace. So I've learned a lot, and I just basically take my lessons and I self-reflect, and I figure out what I'm doing wrong, and then I adapt to what I need to do to keep it going. So I've survived 12 years, so I'm keeping on, and I love motivating people. So just follow me at QB Darla. So I'll help you throw your own touchdown.
She's amazing. Darla, thank you so much. I'll hopefully see you later. Please stop by my office. I'd love for a big non-social distancing hug. So thank you so much. Amazing. Check her out. This is just such a pleasure. I'll see you later. True entrepreneur, no overnight success is 12 years, and she's just getting started. look at the components. Last night, Brian Tracy said that they had done research over 10,000 millionaires, 10,000 millionaires. And the one thing that they have in common was the one thing I talk about is they must be what they can be. They're all telling people that they outworked everyone else. You're not going to outwork everybody else unless you must be what you can be, because it's not work. You have learned to find the light, the love, and the lessons of what you do. You're not going to love everything you do, no matter who you are, what job you have. It doesn't matter. You need to learn how to find the light, love, and lessons in what you're doing. The parts that are uncomfortable, you know, that's why I always, when I'm cutting my nails, I'm right-handed, so I cut my right hand first, right? Make the hardest effort first. And I learned to love that. And then everything gets easier and easier. I got to give a big shout out to my cousin, niece / unbelievable young entrepreneur, Jacqueline Burnett. I see you there. Thank you for joining me. Trevor Moad, I saw you. Nick Lowry, thank you for joining me. All of my great friends and mentors, family, you guys are incredible people. I appreciate your support. Remember, tomorrow's our big training on reinventing, reengineering, and repurposing. Reinvent yourself, make yourself better, be your own chief betterment officer. We all can do it. Join me tomorrow, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. It's free. And if it's free, it's me. Make it free for you too. All right. Let's see you tomorrow, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. Have a wonderful day. Be kind to your future self and do good deeds.